trying to give them a reason, and I'm here to do a video for you guys. I'm actually here to talk about all the positions at my airline. So we have 4 positions, and I thought I'd go through every last one of them just in case you're coming here. I see a lot of people on the promising page on Facebook of everyone coming here, so I thought maybe I'll talk about all of the positions we have here. But before we start talking about that, don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe, and share, and talk about this channel. I was told that in 2019 I need to do a little bit more of advertising over my channel so that it can grow. But overall, I just want to come and give you guys a synopsis and just some education about each position. So again, if you guys want to hear about each position, stay tuned. And once again, thank you guys for giving me many reasons to spend my time with you. So let's get started. Alrighty, so the first position is a position. So how I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about each position, and I'll talk about some of the responsibilities. Now, I can't tell you every responsibility, but I can tell you what I know that's really important, and there's other things as well. I don't want to just overwhelm you with it, so I can tell you like maybe sometimes how people feel, why they like the position, why they don't, what you do in that position, and so on and so forth. So the A position is basically the lead position. You get paid more in that position. It's basically you're responsible for the aircraft outside of the flight of the captains. Now with the A position, you have a lot of responsibilities. That's why you get paid more. But when I worked private charter, I'm glad that a lot of things that I learned in private charter I carried on to other airlines, because we had chain of command at my private charter. Now we have chain of command here, but it was strictly enforced at private charter. Here, you know, it's enforced, but it's not as enforced as it was at private charter. But you gotta think about it, private charter is way up under way more scrutiny than regular, you know, major airlines. So with the A position, you're basically doing a lot of things, such as when you come in, you're, you know, introducing yourself to the flight crew. You know, you get paperwork, you get a briefing, whether the captain brief, you know, all of you guys together, and or he just brief you himself, herself, and you have to relay the information to the rest of the flight attendants. You have paperwork, you have to do your security, you have to make sure that you need everything in your galley if you're at a catering station, provisioning station, I mean. So it's a lot of things that you do. You have to make sure you cater to the captains. You know, cater means if they want coffee, if they need water, if they need a trash bag, if they need paperwork. You know, there are things that you will have to do in that position. And not only that, you have to do your regular security, you have to do your regular, you know, compliance checks. You have to do a lot of things in that position. And on top of that, you have to make sure that your crew is up to date, that your crew is compliant in a way of mentally capacitated, mentally able to work that position. So they're not coming in, you know, drinking, or, you know, they look intoxicated, or they're sick, you know, and it's really bad, and it's going to show over, you know, spill over to the, you know, crew members, as I mean like crew members and the, you know, and the customers, where they're looking at them like, oh my god, what's wrong with her? She's like, she's about to die. So, you know, they look at things like that. And as they're oh yes, so, oh no, sorry guys, I just got a message. So overall, is basically you're paying attention to customers as they go through. So when the customers come up, you have to make sure that they're, you know, they're following the guidelines for the baggage. You have to make sure that they're not coming on intoxicated. You have to make sure that there's nothing suspicious. You have to make sure that they're not stumbling. You have to make sure, you know, that they look like they can fly. You have to greet them, you know, because past the gate agent and maybe somebody they dealt with out in the waiting area, you're the first person they see on the aircraft. So you have to make sure that you engage them, because you basically set the tone for the flight. Because if you come in and you had a bad day, or you're not a morning person, and trust me, I'm not a morning person, okay, and you're not a morning person, and you gotta wait till another hour or two before you wake up, so you snappy, it's going to carry over, and the crew will see it, of course, and of course the passengers will see it. So you have to kind of like make sure that you're not being that person where you're just with an attitude, or, you know, it's visible. You have to make sure that, you know, you're checking the baby car seats as they come on. So it's a lot of responsibilities in the A position. That's why they get paid more. And then on top of that, you have to turn around, you have to talk to the captains. You got to make sure you get information on flight time. You got to see if they want coffee. If you got to make coffee, you got to make sure that you pour out the coffee. So, and we're going to talk about the positions that help with that as well. And then you have to make sure that you and another person, you guys are cross-checking your doors. You got to make sure that you have all the information in account from the gate agent, because you're also dealing with the gate agent as well. You're communicating with the gate agent, and you guys are all communicating. You have to make sure that before you close the door, everything is up to par. So when you close the door, if they ever need to go back and look over your flight, they're able to. And then you have to make sure that if anything goes on, your flight crew's supposed to come to you. You have some A's that they're very like stern when it comes to people just walking up going into the flight deck. And it's not that they're being like, oh my god, she just she's being so anal. No, it's that when you're walking straight to the flight deck and you walk past me because I'm in the galley and you're talking, it's different if you walk in and you're talking. But if you're walking in and you're asking like, oh, could you warm it up? Oh, something going on in the back. There's a mechanic or there's a sticker missing. You think the A don't need to know that? What if something happens and she has to write a report? So out of respect, you should tell the A like, hey, there's something going on in the back. There's a sticker missing. Would you like to tell the captain? We could tell him. I can tell him. It's up to you. And there are times like I've come to the back and say, hey, is there any way that you can warm it up in the back? And I go to the A first, and she'll be, that he or she'll be like, why are you asking me that? And I'm like, because out of respect. And I'm like, girl, you can go in there now. But then they look at me like, wow, because they're not used to it. They're just used to people passing by. I went through chain of command. So it's a lot of things that you do in the A position, and people do shy away from that position, especially people that has been here for a long time. Now the newer people, like I fly A all day. When I first got here, my first year I was flying A. I didn't care. I was like, okay, I'm gonna fly A. We flew C like 6 months, but overall I was flying A. I was A this, A that, A this, because I'm looking at the money. I'm looking at all the money I'm making my first year. But now I'm just like, I fly A, it's all good. I fly, other positions. But now it's like the people who've been here a long time, like veterans who've been here like 10, 20 years, they normally don't fly A as much. They be like, y'all can have it, y'all youngest can have it, because that's just too much for me. I just want to come make all my good money and sit back and do whatever I gotta do. Y'all do all that. Y'all want to have all the attention. Whatever reason why you fly A, you do that. So the girl, I make good money right about now. I'm at the seniority where I don't even have to work 30, 50 hours a month, and I'm still getting paid. So you can have that position, girl. That money that they give, you can have that. So you will run into those people. Then you run those people who they want to fly A. Like if they can, they'll call them like, hey, yo, so I'm more senior, so yeah, I want to fly A. Especially if they're in a position they don't want to fly. So that's basically the A position. You have paperwork. You have a lot of things that you have to fill out. You got to give to the captain. So you're the one who's reading the demo. You're the ones, who's doing the compliance check. So it's a lot of things that you're doing in the A position, amongst other things. That's why you get paid more. So the B position. Everybody likes the B position. I mean, I even like the B position. The B position is basically called hide and go seek. Basically, you're in the back. You're in the back and you're basically in hiding. Like nobody really sees you when you're in the B position. They hear you because they know you're making the announcements. Now the A make announcements as well. She gives you the, there are times like maybe you're in the back doing something, because when the B gets on, they have responsibilities as well in the back. So sometimes the A, if the B is busy doing something, the A will get on the PA and start the announcements. And it's not like you're going over the head. It's just like you're saying, hey, it's enough people here for me to say something, so I got your back. And then that B will realize like, okay, yeah, I'm busy back here, but let me go ahead and make these announcements. So that's, people don't take it serious. Like I don't take it serious. When they get on the PA, they do it. Now there's some people that's A position, they do all the announcements, and you just been in the back like, why am I back here? So then it's like I have to run to the PA, because I never want nobody to think I'm lazy. Okay, so in the B position, you're also responsible for the doors. You're responsible for the doors if you're back there by yourself, so you're cross-checking yourself. You're responsible for the doors if you're back there with the C. With the D. So you're not the C, the D. So you're making sure your galley is stocked. You're making sure that if you're in a provisioning station, your galley is stocked, that you have your snacks, you have everything that you need to pass out, because all of your snacks go to the back. There's nothing up front, everything goes in the back. So you're responsible for everything. So you're supposed to, that's why a lot of people print out the paper. Some people print out the paper, some people, and the B also gets a paper from the gate agent. The A and the B gets paper from the gate agent, because they're the ones who have to make sure they have the snacks. They got to make sure what type of snacks they have. Is it a long flight? Do they need the big snacks? Is it a really, really long flight where they need the big extra size snacks, you know, the big boxes? Or is it like a quick, you know, flight where they just need the smaller, you know, section of snacks? And you got to make sure that you're looking at the, you know, the count and make sure that you have enough boxes for the snacks. Now, although the provision is supposed to be doing that, you have to make sure that they're there. Okay, so also you're double checking, you're doing your compliance. You're doing your compliance, you're also doing your safety checks in the back. You're doing your announcements. You're making, me personally, I start getting stuff ready. Like if I have time and they're boarding slow, I get the baskets ready. You know, I set the galley up. So, you know, I've uploaded a video of me doing the galley. So I set the galleys up and I make sure that I have the galley up and running before I do anything. So it's a lot of things that, you know, I try to do where I try to make it easier, especially if it's a short flight. So it's a lot of things I try to do so I won't have to rush and try to do it before the C comes to the back to try to do their, you know, to do their work, or the D is back there. I want to make sure that everything that I can do, that I can start preparing, that can be prepared before I start service, I try to do it as B. And then also as B, I'm also looking at it in the because every position should be paying attention and should be aware. And I'm making sure that, you know, everything's fine. I'm not seeing anything going on, anything funny going on. I'm not, you know, I'm looking for suspicious things. And also, you know, I help close bins in the back. I don't go to a certain point because I'm still responsible for the exits in the back. So I go to a certain point with the overhead bins and then I go right back to the back. So it's a lot of things that you do in the B, but it's not as much, it's not overwhelming as the A position. So the B position, they kind of call it, you know, the chill position, but you do a lot of work. You are back there and you're doing half of the work of what the A is doing. So the A and B, they do a lot of work. The C position. Good old C. And I know when I say the C position, I always be like, okay, so let's talk about the C position, okay? Because I don't want y'all thinking like, oh my God, the C position, what are you talking about, the C position? So let me help you out. So the C position is basically you're in the middle. You're in the overwing exit. You're doing your compliance. You're making sure that the exits are, you know, secure. The exit, that there's no wind, or you don't hear any wind or, you know, whistling coming from the windows. You make sure they have all their safety information cards because you want everybody in the X row to look at it. You have to do your briefings, but you also have to communicate with the people in the X row. You got to make sure that they fit the requirement of the X row. You got to make sure that they're of age in the X row, and then you also got to make sure that you're there briefing the X row, and you're also looking around to make sure that they're, you know, the rules that apply to the X row, like, you know, certain things can be right behind the X row, certain things can be in X row, certain things have to be at, you know, at their feet. You got to make sure that if someone sits there and they need a seatbelt extension, they can't sit in the X row because they don't have that in the X row. So it's a lot of things that you have to pay attention. The reason why people roll their eyes with the C position, and I'm one of those people, is because the X row is a position where a lot of things happen. But the first thing happened is people look at the X row as if it's additional space, leg room, and it is. I'm not taking that from you, but they sit there because they want their leg room, but then they look at you crazy when you tell them it's the X row and they're responsible, and then they say yeah, but you kind of look at them and tell that they're not going to do anything, that they're going to freak out, but you can't make a move. So then you're just like, yeah, you're just saying yeah because you want this extra leg space. And I try to, and I make sure sometimes I put that in my spiel, like, hey guys, I'm so glad you're here in the X row, and I know, you know, this seems, you know, luxury, and this is what we call so-called first class because you got extra leg room and stuff like that. But please do not look at it like this. This is the X row and you are responsible for these exits. And I say that 2 or 3 times in my briefing. You're responsible for these exits. So, you know, it's like I'm drilling in their head, but I'm not scolding them. I'm just reminding them, like, don't get comfortable because if I need you, you're gonna help in these exits. And then you have those people that come on, and we have through passengers who are going on to another city, but they were on the flight before the next city passengers boarded. So then they get on, the people that's boarding in that particular city, they get an attitude where they see the people that's already on the aircraft sitting in the overwing exit. So they feel like, okay, I'm in the A position, I'm an A-lister, and I'm this and I'm that, and I'm in the first group, why can't I get the extra row? So then you're just like, because they're through passengers, so then they get upset. So they're already irritated because they feel like the through passengers shouldn't have dibs, but they're not thinking if that was them, they got, it's first come first serve, number one, and number two, they were there before you got there, and they were able to move to the exit row because maybe that's where they wanted to sit from the get-go, but they came on later, so they get mad about that. And then you have the ones where, you know, they get mad because they want to lay stuff all over the exit row, and then you tell them you can't. Like, they want to hang up their jacket on the seat, on the tray table. And like, babe, you can't do that. They want to leave stuff on the thing. They want to, you know, take, you know, bring their tray table doing takeoff and landing, or, you know, as we're doing our compliance, and you're like, you're in the exit row. You know, this is the exit. That's why you have so much space. You know, and then they get agitated because they want to hang up their jacket and there's nowhere to hang it, so they want to hang it on the tray table. And you're just like, you can't do that. Like, I'm sorry, you just can't. And then you have the people where, you know, they have like disabilities, and you have to visually see it and know that they can't sit there. And then you have people with kids, and they're like 13 years old, but their kid like tall and big, and they feel like since they have the agility in the body that they can do it. No, it says on the placard that you have to be 15. Like, it's on the wall. Like, it's not something you gotta look in the safety information card. It's there. So people, you know, get there and they try to save all the seats, save some areas in the X row for people that's in the, you know, C and C boarding group, you know, further, like real far boarding group. And then you have to dance back and forth because you got to stand in that, but you have to stand in the X row until every seat is occupied, because you never want to leave that area and every seat is occupied, and then when the seat is occupied, you have to move them and it's a full flight, and then it's a problem because now they want to put up a fight because they're like, I've been here all this time, you ain't seen me, so why you want to come now? So you have to pay attention to that. So I don't care if I'm standing all over people. I'm like, I'm sorry, you know, unfortunately I have to be here, so this is what it is. Like, I mean, and I don't say it like that, but I'm like, you know, I'm sorry, unfortunately, could I stand here, please? And then they try to tell you, well, yeah, stand here, because my friend, she in, here, she in border group C. And I tell them, I said, oh, okay, well, I'm just letting you know, if someone comes and they want to sit in this, but sit in the seat, they can sit there, I'm going to move. So then they be like, you know, I'm just like, that's how it goes. Like, I mean, if you can save it to the C position, do you, boo-boo? But I'm just saying, if they come in, if somebody wants to see it, first come, first serve. So, you know, that's, you know, what it is. So then you have to do your briefings. You have to, you know, wait and do your briefings. Some people do their briefings while they're standing there. So if the X row is full and they have time, they try to brief. Me, I don't like to brief the X row when everybody's boarding. Hold on one second. I don't like to brief the X row when everybody's boarding because I feel like they're distracted. People looking, they're looking at people come on, they're looking at this, they're looking at that. So I wait till the A say, you know, flight attendants boarding's complete, flight attendants, you know, brief X row and secure cabin. Then I say, okay, well, let me brief the X row. But then I wait to see if the A is going to make her opening announcement, and or if she's not, then I'll brief the X row. And then I start closing bins, or if she's making her opening announcement, I close bins, and then I go back and I brief the X row. And I make sure I have, you know, of course you're supposed to have a safety information card in your hand, and I have to command everyone's attention. And people be laughing, but there are times I, you know, say, ladies and gentlemen, I need your attention. Everybody look up, and they look up like, okay, okay, and then they'll go down and be all on their phone, and I start, hi, how are you? Let me start over. Hi, my name is, and they just like, people laugh, but I'm just like, no, I need you to pay attention, because I tell them you're responsible for these exits, so I don't need you on your phone texting and stuff, and then you look up, and then I say, well, are you willing and able to assist? What? Now I gotta brief you all over again. No, so we're not gonna do all that. I want to make sure you pay attention, and I will stop 2 or 3 times, and by the time I stop, everybody be looking at you like, bro, like, it's not that serious, like, whatever you're doing, stop. And I've done that before. Like, people was cracking up. And I don't try to put you on the spot, but you know where you're sitting. You know, you don't look at it like, oh my God, it's just a seat. No, it's an exit row. And I need you to take it as serious as I do. And plus, you got to make sure that when you're serving in the exit row, especially if you're serving alcohol, you're not serving so much alcohol where someone's intoxicated and or slightly intoxicated where they can't operate those exits. So the C position, you have to do the demo. You know, you too have to do compliance during the demo. So, you know, it's a lot of things that you have to do. And also, when you're in the C position, when the A finish her safety briefing, she has to do a walkthrough. She has to do her compliance. You at the C position, you have to go meet. I put all my stuff away from my demo, and I start from right to left. So I go to every lock that's on in the galley, and I make sure it's locked. And I go to the left, and I go through every lock, and then I walk inside the galley, and then I go on the wall, and I make sure everything's locked. And then on the other side, depending on what aircraft I'm on, then I make sure that's locked. And then I turn around, and I make sure that, you know, that the galley is locked. And I make sure there's no coffee in the coffee pot, because there are times A gets so overwhelmed with helping out, they forget to dump the coffee, and that can cause a problem. So I make sure that, you know, I shake the coffee pot, make sure it's empty. I make sure the lever on the coffee pot is down. And then I go and I make sure all the, you know, locks are down. And then I go in the bathroom. I even pull on the flight deck door to make sure that's locked. Now the A does it anyway, but I do it again. And then I open the bathroom door, and I make sure the toilet seat is down. So I check that, and then I look around in the bathroom, make sure there's, you know, there's nothing in there. And then I go into the area where I sit, you know, where the jump seat is, and I check the locks over there, and I make sure everything's done. And if there's anything on the counter or whatever, I try to put it away where I think the person would need that stuff. And then I sit down, and I sit down in the jump seat. Now one thing the C does that I forgot to tell you is after you brief the X-row, you do tell the A flight attendant X-row is brief. As soon as you finish briefing, you're going through, you're coming from the overwing exit, and you're doing your compliance going through, because you're going to do compliance again after your demo. But after you do your briefing before the doors are closed, you're walking up front and you're just looking, and this is to help you too, you know, before you even do your compliance after the demo. So I'm making sure that everybody's, you know, have their seatbelt on, they have everything up on the seat, and I tell them about the tray tables. And then I go to the A and say, hey, you know, hey guys, the X-row is, you know, hey, excuse me, whatever their name is, the X-row is briefed. And then now if I go back to after the A does the doing her compliance, she goes back, she gets information, because like I said, the captain, I don't know if I said this, but the captain can brief the crew, or he can brief the A, and the A can relay the information. I don't know if I said that. If I did, I'm just repeating myself. So then the A, if the captain briefs the A, then, you know, I mean brief the crew, then we're fine. But if it's something else he wants to add, like, hey, I just looked, there's some weather, it changed, so make sure you tell him in the back, then she'll tell him in the back. But overall, she'll still go to the back and say, well, you heard, you know, she'll just reiterate what the captain said, what the captain said, this is the flight time, you know, because she has to get the flight time, and this is the flight time, and, you know, this is the amount of people that's on here, and this, you know, we have this kids, we have unaccompanied minor, you know, we have someone with that's carrying a firearm, you know. And we, you know, we just basically talk, you know, the A talks about that, and, you know, do her compliance. She makes sure that the B, if he or she is back there by herself, make sure her doors are armed, because guess what, she's back there by herself, she can get overwhelmed too and forget to arm her doors. So, or forget to cross check or arm one door and partially arm the other door. So she looks at that as well. And so she also does a look around in the galley to make sure that everything is, you know, locked. So she comes back up and she does her compliance on the other side, because as she's walking, you know, from the front, she's looking at her right, and then as she's walking from the back, she's looking to her left. So she's not doing this, you know, the whole time. No, she walks down, she look over here, and then she walks up and she look over here. So, you know, it works out perfectly. And so when she comes to him or she, I keep saying she, but when they come to the front and they sit down in the galley, they're supposed to actually just sit down in the galley. But I mean, not the galley, but sit down in the jump seat. But some of them, they go and they look around and make sure everything is locked, which is fine. But then as soon as they walk up, before they even go to the galley, I tell them, just a reminder, the X-row is brief. I know I told you already, but the galley is also secure. And I tell them that, and they're like, oh my God, and they look around still, which I'm not mad, and they sit down and everything's fine. So when the A sits down, I just remind her, hey, the X-row is briefed, and I did secure the galley secure. And also when you're working as C and we're on our 800 max, there's a galley up front, and you know, we have different models, but there's a galley up front. The C also has to make sure that galley is stocked, and the A is supposed to double check to make sure the C stocked that galley. So it's like a lot of, you know, we all supposed to work together. Now, the D. Alrighty, sorry, my camera went out. So the last position is the D position. The D position is like a loner position. It's like a position where people just want to, you know, work certain flights. They want to go all over. They don't want to be confined to a crew. You know, people, you know, schedule and build their lines. They just, you know, they feel as if I'm with a crew for 3 days and I can't get along with somebody, I'm stuck with them for 3 days. But if I'm in the D position, I'm rarely stuck with a crew for 3 days. Like, I'm just bouncing around and I'm going where I'm needed. And some people like that position. I like it sometimes. I don't like it at all. Like, I don't like it because I like, sometimes you get so cool with the crew. Like, I've worked D position and I've gotten cool with so many crews and I didn't want to leave them. And then they were going to fun cities and I'm going somewhere crazy by myself. And all of that, when you're in a D position, you're basically you're responsible for yourself. You're responsible for going downstairs. You're responsible for making sure you make, you know, you get the van times and stuff like that. And that's one thing that the A does. The A go to the hotel and they make sure that all the rooms are signed in. They sign everybody in. They make sure that you have the time. They make sure that you, even though they're telling you you should have the time, they make sure, you know, you have to double check as well. Like, you just can't take the A word for it. And I'm not saying that they don't know what they're doing, but there are times, sometimes A position or people don't know the change in the times, and they don't know that there's a time change. So you have to just make sure, and you have to make sure the A have to make sure that you're there. And if it's closer to the time for you to come downstairs, you're supposed to call and make sure that you're there, because anything could happen. Now, the D position, you're responsible with all of that for yourself. You're by yourself. You do your own thing, and it's fun. But I call it the loner position because, like I said, you can get cool with the crew and y'all split and you just like by yourself, and I don't like that. And not saying I don't like being by myself, but I love working with people, having a blast, and get with people. And I rarely get with a crew that I really don't like. And I say really don't like I rarely get with a crew that I'm like, thank God it's only a turn, or thank God it's only a 3 day. Oh my God, I'm not coming downstairs. Like, that's rare. Also, the D position, they help out in every position. Now, you do have some D positions that want to come on and they want to do everybody's job, but they're on. Just do your job. Sometimes, unless they deliberately stepping on your toes and disrespecting you, then say something. But the D position, they start out in the front of the cabin and they help out with the specials and anybody who needs luggage, and they work their way back. And then they come in the C position and they maybe help out every now and then they work their way back to the B position. So it's a lot of things. They end up working their way back all the way to the point that they're standing in the galley, because there's nowhere for them to stand, because they can't stand in the wait in the aisle. So with the D position, I know I was working a D position and a lady was working a C position, and she had a lot going on in the C position, and people were sneaking sitting in the C position, and I knew for a fact she knew her son wasn't old enough. So then I seen her read the board, seen her read the placard, and she read and she was like, and her son looked young, okay? So I seen her read the placard and she read it and she was like, like she didn't read it. So I turned around like I didn't see her. So she thought she got away with it. And so the lady, she was so overwhelmed with what was going on, she didn't see her sit down. So she thought the lady was just going to turn around and brief her. But when the C got finished with her stuff, I, politely told her, with her, like talking to the C, like we're just having a casual conversation, so the lady could read my mouth. And I was like, yeah, so I don't want to step on your toes, but while you was handling that situation, a lady said here with her son definitely doesn't look like he's 15, and I seen her read the placard and try to look like she heard voices. She had that I hear voices, somebody speaking to me look on her face, trying to play like she didn't read the placard or she didn't see the placard. So you might want to ask her how old her son. I said, as a matter of fact, I didn't want to step on her toes, so I just want to let you know first. So then at that point, the C addresses the kid. Hey, baby, how are you? How old are you, sweetheart? And then the mom or the dad hasn't told him to lie, so they're like, oh, I'm 13. Yeah. Then the mom, the mom was like, oh my God. Because we're not going to address the mother. We're going to address the kid, because we know you're going to lie. So we're not doing that. If anything happens, you think that 13-year-old or however old he was going to have, he may be a hero. I'm not saying that, but why would you put that much responsibility and mental strain on a 13-year-old about getting somebody off a plane and opening the exit? Like a mother who sit there and try to allow her kid to sit there because she want to sit together, she think that's a good idea. That's not a good look on the mother's part, because you're putting that pressure on your kid. And then one thing I could say is, a mother, she will get her kid off. And she will get her kid off, and she'll get off with her kid, and she will not worry about anybody else, because she got to make sure she's there for her kid, and her kid is safe, and she's safe to be raising her kid still. So she might even help with anybody else. So I kind of think about things like that. That's why I pay attention as a C. But the D position is supposed to pay attention too. So if anything goes on in the D position, she's, he or she is paying attention what's going on in A. If something happens where the A missed something, the D is supposed to catch it until, she works her way back. And when I say work her way back, she could be standing and row 3, and then somebody said, well, could I sit there, could I sit there, could I sit there? So she just work her way back. Then she goes to the C, and they're talking, and she's supposed to make sure that everything's fine in that position and nobody's trying to, you know, get over on the C. And then she work her way back and work her way back until she's in the back. And then she helps closing band. She goes through her compliance as well. You know, of course she does her, you know, security or whatever. And she goes, he or she, I keep saying she, but they go to the, you know, to the back, and they sit in the back, and the C sits in the front. Now, with certain certain aircrafts, the B, C, and the D is in the back, and then certain aircrafts, the A and C is in the front, and the B and the D is in the back. So the D and the C sometimes, depending on who it is, and what aircraft, sometimes if there's like a long flight, they get the basket ready and they take it up to the A, so the A won't have to leave the front, because they know the A sets up the galley themselves, especially if they're on a flight up there by themselves. So you try to help them out as much as possible, because they're already overwhelmed. And I don't want to keep saying overwhelmed, because it's not overwhelmed, but it's a lot of responsibility as a. But the D, you're just like a floater. You just, you know, you go with the wind. And I love a D that comes on and they just work their position. They work as a team. I don't appreciate when D's come on and they try to do your job and everybody else's job. I don't like when D's come on and then they try to dictate everybody, or they think they're the A. And I'm just like, if you want to be the A, then you need to not be the D and fly the A position. Like, you're not coming in to save the day. You're just coming in to fill in. You're like a filler. So I mean, sometimes I don't understand why D comes on with, you know, the attitude where they run the show, and I'm like, you know, you're a filler, right? You know, it's things been going on before you got on here. You know, we got a vibe going on. Just go with the flow, you know. But sometimes they come on like that and they realize that everybody just chill, we all get along, we all communicate, and then they just go back to normal. But that's every airline. Every airline, you may have a floater and they come on, they just want to do. You may have a floater that's lazy. You may have a floater that, you know, that's go above and beyond. You may have a floater that's just trying to do everybody's job. But that's in any position. You can have a CB that does that. You want to do the A job, you know. So, you know, that's how it goes. So those are all the positions here: the A, the B, the C, and the D. And like I said, chain of command is enforced here, but it's not strictly enforced like it was when I worked private charter. Because if it was 5 of us on the aircraft or 4 of us, it had to go 5, 4, 3, 2, the lead. Then the lead went to the first officer, and the first officer went to the captain, and the captain went to operations. It was no, you coming from the back and you going straight to the flight deck. You will get in trouble. There's no. You're not gonna be like, oh, something's going on in the back. Man, the A, she got an attitude, so I'm just gonna go to the. No, you will get in trouble. They will write you up, because we all have to be in the know. You know what I'm saying? And overall, in all the positions, I've always said this. I say this all the time. You have to make sure that you guys work together, no matter what the situation is. No matter if you guys got into it during the flight. No matter if you find out you work with somebody you don't like working with. When a situation happens, you have to be as one. And most importantly, you're there for safety. You have to be aware of your surroundings, and you have to always make sure that whatever the situation is, that is not a diversion for someone to do something else, especially during the time of the shutdown, when, you know, a lot's going on with TSA and they're trying to hold on and wait for the money and wait for the shutdown to end so they can get paid. But then you will have people that's working TSA where they're irritated, they're upset, they want their money, so they're just like, man, I ain't got time, you know, man, just go through, because I'm not getting paid, so it is what it is. I'm just staying here because when I do get my big check, it's gonna be a big check, and I'm about to get my taxes, so I'm just gonna work and do whatever I gotta do, you know. And I'm not, I would hope that they wouldn't keep that mindset, because they're putting everybody in jeopardy. The flight crew, the captains, the plane, the customers. So I hope that if they ever get that mindset, don't come to work. Just don't come to work. Don't come to work. Stay at home. Okay, just do not come to work. Stay at home. I support them. I mean, if I can give them money, I would, but they can't accept it. It's a bribe. But I will help them if I can give them money and help them in any way, I will help them, because I do not want them to ever get that mindset like, I don't care, just do what you gotta do, go on, honey. Yeah, okay, it be probably your button, okay, keep going. Like, I need y'all to make sure that we safe in this era, you know, in this era. And with this shutdown going on, we definitely have to be aware now, because of course, you know, it's a shutdown. You know, we don't know what's going through. You already had a lady go through with a gun on, you know, on Delta. So it's a lot going on. I just read on Instagram where a lady got on a flight and she had scissors and all kinds of stuff, and she said something to the guy, and the guy was like, I ain't getting paid, so I don't, like, I'm gonna tell you like I told people all day long, you know, I'm not getting paid, so do what you want to do. Don't come to work. don't come to work. So I know everybody's trying to feed them because they can't accept monetary gifts, and that's a blessing. But people thinking, I love food, thank you for that, but I got bills to pay. Food is not gonna pay my bills. But that's all we can do because they can't accept monetary gifts. So let's just pray that they end this whole shutdown thing and things work out and they end it and let these people get their money. And let's just pray for that. But hopefully you guys like this video. I thought I'd come and talk about it. I always, roll my eyes with certain positions, but I thought I'd come and talk to you guys about it. And hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and it was very informative. And I'll see you on a future video. Once again, don't forget to rate, comment, subscribe, and also share this video. Talk about your girl, let everybody know what's going on. And also, like I said it again, I'll say it again, thank you so very much for giving me many reasons to spend my time with you. And thank you for sticking by me, and I appreciate it. And I'll see you guys on a future video. Bye.